Spin, spin, spin. It just cuts out. Hello.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good new year.
GM is the thing that we're supposed to say, Brian. It's always
GNY.
GM.
Yeah.
GNY.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hey, welcome. Have a good holiday.
I did. Good to see you, and welcome everybody to episode, I think 5. I think we're doing 5 today. I had a good one. Yeah, it was
Halfway
nice
to
to
double
just take a break.
digits.
Yeah, no. How was your holiday?
It was great. Yeah, I went to Nebraska. Got to go see my family. Did a lot of road trip back and forth. But I also got to stop in Chicago and visit the I'm Not Art NFT gallery, which I think was fantastic.
That's cool.
I got to see some friends from the NFT space while I was in Nebraska as well. Shout out to Mac and Abigail. It was good. It was nice to have a little break, but I think most artists probably feel this longing, a similar longing for their big PC rigs when they're away from him. I'm like, oh yeah, it's fun to like draw on my iPad, but I would love to go do some heavy duty rendering stuff.
Right.
So I'm glad to be back.
No, I feel that, and I do most of the stuff on the iPad until I move it into like After Effects. But it's also just the kind of thing where like I was balancing being present with the family, which was great, and then there were times when I wanted to draw, not even just like for anything in particular, but I felt like, this isn't the time. I was like, let's just be here. I'm always like heads down. So it was nice to take a break for a minute.
I feel that. I played a lot of Fortnite with my nephew.
Did you win? Probably
I
not.
got second place a lot, which is very heartbreaking.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Solid. It was good bonding times, though.
Nice. All right. Well, speaking of bonding, which has nothing to do with anything, it's just a terrible segue. We have got a fun episode today. I'll get there. Just give me like 4 more episodes, and I'll get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Today we're happy to welcome guest artist and amazingly talented illustrator who's building an incredible world. We've got Pop Wonder. Welcome, Pop Wonder.
What's up?
Woo! We're both big fans of Pop Wonder. Good to have you.
Big fans.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How's your New Year going? Did you have a good holiday?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been pretty. I've been kind of in the background last month or so, and then my kid's still not back to daycare yet this week, so it's been extending into this. So next week I'm getting back to
it. Yep,
it's good to forced breaks are good.
They are.
No, it's been awesome.
I can only be forced into having a break.
And I was also playing music like all month last month, so my band happened to have like shows the entire month, and then I did a little vacation with the family, and so I was home like 3 or 4 days last month, so it's good to just be back.
Yeah. What kind of music
did you go on tour?
Yeah.
I play bass, and I play in a band called the Portland Cello Project, and we had like a holiday program that we were working on earlier in the year, and we basically just went out and did like 15 shows doing that. So
okay, that's not a break at all.
Yeah, no,
awesome,
I mean, man. I was working, but
Are you playing stand-up bass or like guitar bass?
I play electric bass, yeah. And the band has like 5 or 6 cellos usually, plus drums, electric bass, piano, horns. So it's a whole deal.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fun.
That is really cool. All right.
How long have you been in that band?
Coming on maybe 6-7 years, something like that.
Wow, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always impressed by people who can play music in general. Like I understand some of it, but it's just like it seems like a whole other language to me.
It's pretty much been my whole life, like since I was like 12. So it's I even went to school for it and everything like that. So at this point it's pretty much kind of second nature. I still got to work at it and keep my chops up and all that. But
so then how, if you went to school for music, how did you like pivot into illustration, art, in terms of visual arts? Like how did that come about?
Well, I was always like into drawing, but just kind of casually. And then I'd say about 8 years ago, I was playing in a band that I didn't particularly enjoy, and everything wasn't kind of going the way that I wanted it to at the time. And I said, well, if I can quit this band if I can like figure out a way to make a couple of bucks. So I started making posters for local bands, venues, and things like that. And I saw a lot of posters around town that were like pretty bad, and I felt like I could do better than that. And but I mean, some of them are just it's the bands doing it themselves to save a couple bucks, and I get it.
Sure.
And so I basically just said, can I make anybody a free poster? Because all my friends, musicians and stuff, I just posted it and got a couple people. And then from there, like people were asking me for posters all the way, like I basically never didn't have work to do. So, so that, and the whole time I'm like trying to get my illustration back up and trying out different styles, because I didn't really have a style. But then like basically, so that was great. And then, by the time like in 2019, I was playing 4 or 5 nights a week, doing graphic design all day long, doing logos and packaging and all this stuff. And it was cool. And I was like, all right, I'm actually like cobbling together a living, being creative, freelance. And then March of 2020, we were getting ready to hit, like a whole year of touring, and it all got canceled. And also all my clients being venues and bands, all that work went away too at the same time. Yeah. So, and I was like actually good at the time I was keeping track of all my income and stuff. And I'm looking at these spreadsheets, in like April, and I'm going, oh Jesus, like, this is bad. But that stuff started picking up again. And also at that time I had more time. So I started drawing the stuff that people know me for now. And I was like, you know what, I have to I've spent enough years experimenting, trying stuff out. I got to pick something and zone in on it. And that's what this ended up being. And it was all just for fun for like a year. Just to have a cool Instagram and nothing, no more expectations from it at all.
That's usually how these things work out, right? Like when there's no pressure and you're just having fun, just like, and to find a style, and definitely like zoning in on something because of the way the internet works, right?
Yeah.
Like people expect to see a certain thing, and it's easier to get some traction. Well, you've certainly done that with you've managed, and I'll pull it up here. One of your pieces, you've managed to basically make a very easily recognizable, feels iconic kind of character. Love to dive in more on that and where that kind of, oops, the wrong one, where that came from. But sorry, this piece here, shiny and new, beautiful piece. And you've got your main character. And I know one of the things like in your just description of like how you work, basically all digital, but working really hard to make it look like it was torn apart or old comic book pages. Like that's kind of, is that fair to say in terms of like your style?
Definitely. And I don't know if you can zoom in on that, especially if you hit the little pop out, up top of the
there we go.
I mean, that'll work too.
Just let's see. And if you zooming in goes out.
It's that little square in the top.
Yeah, that little square. And
I'll see if I can grab it.
Basically, it'll illustrate a little bit more. So pop out of that, and then
I'm trying to hit it.
There it is.
There we go. The juicy details.
Yeah. And for anybody, if you're ever saving something off of OpenSea, you got to do this first. Respect the artist, get the full res. And if you, I don't know if you can pop right into like that red part. Yeah. Or even that. I mean, I do a lot of texturing and a lot of distressing.
Yeah. Gorgeous.
All the colors are built with halftones and overlapping colors to create up new colors and things like that, which is the way they printed the stuff back in the day.
Yeah. No, I love your use of halftones. It reminds me of like Jack Kirby's old comic art, kind of, where especially like kind of these colors too have a very kind of 70s feel to them.
Yeah, I mean,
it really takes you back.
You can't escape it if you're just kind of like sticking with the guidelines that they had, and like I'll try to not do things that they couldn't do back then, But
even this character, like when Brian's saying 70s, right? Like, so even if you took off a lot of the colors and the halftone and the effects, like this character alone just has a feeling, and I can't explain exactly which artists maybe, were inspiration, but like if you told me this was made, 40 to 50 years ago, I'd 100% believe it.
Nice.
In a good way, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's really
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, I just try to like this character. They're called poplins. There's lots of them. They're kind of a race of aliens that inhabit this world, and kind of seem to be running things, although things don't always go their way. But yeah, I mean, it evolved over the first few months of me drawing this stuff, where eventually they were different colors, sometimes, and they had tails at the beginning, and they eventually evolved into this, and people resonate with it, so I stuck with it and tried to include them in most of the pieces, not every single piece, but yeah. And see, like right there, you can see how like if that black ink was worn off, you can see behind it and things like that.
It's like a stamp.
Yeah,
it does look like a stamp. Love the texture.
And I think this piece also, to me, it kind of feels like a lot of your work, which has this kind of light and darkness aspect. Like sometimes it's like an umbrella, and you see like light inside of a dark area or something, and you have this kind of counterbalance in a lot of your works.
Yeah, I have quite a few pieces like that, like you're describing, and this one I think I was probably trying to like capture the same feeling, but without exactly doing the same black and white thing. But yeah, I mean, this was basically I'm pretty sure this was towards the end of 2021 or early 2022. I can't remember, but and it's basically like, during that time, I think we all, any of us here, I don't know about you guys, it felt like 5 years, 2021.
Yeah,
it literally felt like every week would go by and I would be like, this was like months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all got a lot older in 21.
Yeah. And and also certain things in my personal life fell to the wayside because we were so just in the pocket with this stuff, and you had to be in order to because everything was changing so fast. Like I said, there'd be like months of change within a week. And so basically this is like, it's called shiny and new. You got a new toy that you're playing with, and stuff around, but he's still kind of in bliss or whatever. And everything's fine with me, but
that's okay.
There's a lot of there's a lot of stuff that you got to take care of in your life, especially all of a sudden now I'm like, I have a business and I'm making money, and I gotta and it's crypto, and I gotta do taxes, and I gotta do that's all we need to talk about that. But just setting everything up, and then you got your family and you got your house, and your house is falling apart and stuff, but it's like I gotta see what the next thing is pumping or whatever, so that's kind of like the thought behind this piece.
No, yeah, it resonates from someone who's who lived through that moment in time, right? Like it definitely was both incredibly creatively fulfilling and also tremendous stress on personal relationships at the time. If you were not single, I can't, I imagine, and I think a lot of the people that were very successful were very young and unattached to others, and didn't have families. That's a sweeping generalization, but also just I know a lot of the people, and they had maybe a little bit of an easier go at that, because like I don't know, for myself, I had a young kid and I was married, and it was sort of like, and I had a full-time job at the time, and it's like, yeah, this was all consuming, but it can't be. And so I completely resonate with all of that. And I'm watching this like shiny and new, and I'm seeing all the chaos behind, the character, and it's just like focused on this one thing, and just, no, that's a brilliant piece from the time.
I love it. So I had a question. So like for this piece, how did you go about creating? Is it all done in like Procreate, or are you bringing it into Photoshop, or like what are the tools that you use for this?
For most of these, just still images, it's all Procreate. So
nice.
Do the sketching in there, and then all the line work, then the color, and then I go through and distress it all. And really, like the sketch is usually like 75% of the work.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other stuff comes together pretty easy. But yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I use different brushes that I've cobbled together over some stuff I made. Like if you go around this area, you'll see little splatters. Things like that. And that's like I splattered ink on paper and scanned it over here. And
I was going to ask about that, if it was like a custom, do it yourself, like textures.
Yeah, and I scuffed up some paper and scanned that in, and changed the contrast so it. And you can see like
there is a real physical aspect to it.
Yeah.
That red is that's pink or magenta over the yellow. So when I knock out the red, then the yellow shows through. And even those little bits of green that show up, that's just because if you knock out the red, there's actually blue and yellow making up that black in the background, blue, yellow, and pink.
That's a cool technique. That's cool that you have sort of like, that's an attention to detail for like from printing,
Yeah, it's like a screen print mentality.
Did you ever do any screen printing or any,
Not personally. I've designed a lot of shirts and some other, risograph prints and things like that. Risograph translates really good with this style too.
I bet. Yeah.
Sort of that offset.
Those are hard to find though. I bet there's a bunch in Portland though. Right?
There's a shop in Portland that's really great, and you go in there and
cool.
and do it with them. That's like the only way they do it. So it's hands-on.
Sweet.
Oh, that's really cool. I like that, knowing that the textures are coming from scans and things that it's sort of like, it matters in the end, I think, to be, if that's what your intention is, to go that extra mile and like really make sure that the piece is reflective of you and your hand.
Yeah. And the style, is that I've kind of settled into it. It's really like, people are like, oh, like you must love comic books, but I didn't really look at a lot of comic books growing up. It was more like Sunday comics, and cartoons. Just Saturday morning cartoons, and I would just stare at like the hands and the mouths and the way that they did stuff, and you'll see also like you can find some definite like Simpsons mouths in some of my work, and some of the monsters. There's some obvious like, and I didn't even realize it, and then I go back and watch Simpsons, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing exactly that Simpsons mouth thing, which is fine.
We're all influenced by
yeah. I mean, I don't feel bad about it, but it is funny to look back, to realize it.
For sure. Well, and you talked about styles. I remember early on, you were early on Tezos, and you kind of developed a unique new style just for those mints, which kind of live in their own world.
Yeah. If you want to go to popwonder.xyz, you can look at those.
I do want to go there.
They look even more screen printy, I would say.
Yeah. So that's like basically what I do here, but like boiled down to the simplest form.
Yeah.
Without any halftones or anything. It's just literally
and a lot more animated too, right?
Yeah, they're all animated, and
Oh, I saw these the other day. These are great.
Yeah, so basically it's like I just make the shapes and I put them to multiply blend mode, and I move them around and to create the different colors and the different,
I think I own this one.
Things.
I do.
Yeah.
Is this an edition, or is this were these editions or
singles? That's edition. So there was a short time I was doing like I did actually. So I made 6 flowers that are like way more detailed. These are just little representations of them, and they spin. And I did like 100 of each of those for really cheap. And then right after that, I dropped like 50 of these or something. I forget how many it was, but so anybody who collected all the other flowers, or some of them, maybe they wanted to also get this main one. And I did that a few times though, where I do like 2 pieces. One's an open edition for 24 hours, and the next one is like 50 or less.
Yeah.
Are you animating these in Procreate or After Effects?
After Effects.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I can see why you own this one, Bryan.
Well, I mean, this whole series reminds me of kind of these like 50s UPA cartoon modern style stuff, which I'm a huge fan of. And so
they're great.
Well, we do have some overlap, you and me, in the colors. You use like a different kind of like a green sometimes, like a
yeah.
But like there's lots of
these are very CMYK, right?
Yeah, and it's called the CMY series, and I literally only use those 3 colors. And
yeah.
Oh,
they're great. I really dig it.
It's also really fun to do things with limitations, right? Like having just those colors to work with, and really just like dialing in on a style. What was it like? Kind of going from the other look to something like this, right? Like they're very different looks.
Yeah.
But they're very clearly defined looks.
Yeah. So when I started on Tezos, a bunch of people, artist friends of mine, were doing it, and there was a lot of activity on Clubhouse in relation to it. And I knew I couldn't just take like one of my regular kind of pieces and put it up, because people had already paid like an ETH for Pop Wonderworld piece.
Sure.
And I just couldn't, and I'm not going to charge at the time maybe 700-800 TES for one.
Right,
nobody was going to buy it.
Yeah.
Right.
So I started putting up, like I took like these old, and you can find them on there somewhere. They're in, they're at the very beginning, but like t-shirt designs, and I don't know why there's a nouns on my profile. That's weird, but
yeah, if you don't have
okay.
a photo up, they just changed a whole bunch of stuff
Okay.
on Object, like yesterday or 2 days ago. So a lot of
Did they
people
really? They just made everybody have nouns?
Yeah, if you didn't upload a photo or something, it's very strange.
Yeah,
But
but so I took like some of my t-shirt designs and some other just random artwork that I did and animated it and put them up for like 2 TES, and we were having these rooms. See, you can see other stuff. There it is.
Yeah.
And that's what I was. And the first one I did, actually, that's my Genesis, as they call it. So it is in that style. And then I did other stuff too. And then eventually I did another one. If you go back up, that one, the next one there with the face, and people dug that. And I really like how I can make the expressions change without even changing any of the shapes, just by moving them around. And so then from there, I just was like, you know what, this is cool. People, I think I sold like 50 of those or something for really cheap. And then, and then from then on, I was just like, this is the thing. This is what I'm going to do. So
I think experimentation is important, like, especially if you're going to a different chain and you're trying to figure things out. Like, I think that's a great place to do something like that, to kind of work through ideas.
It felt really like punk rock and cool when we were doing it, and I still love it. And I collected probably 500 pieces or more on there too at this point.
Yeah. Now, it reminds me, when I first joined Super Rare, like I didn't know what my style was going to be. And so like my first like 10 minutes are kind of all over the place stylistically until I kind of found my pocket I felt comfortable in.
Yeah.
And I think it's fun to see when artists have this, like, they're throwing stuff out there and seeing kind of what sticks and what people are connecting with. So it's cool to see that, those early kind of t-shirt designs and stuff. You get a real sense of your history from them.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was doing in my graphic design days. So like I made a mug and a shirt of this, but then I was like, oh, let me make them float around and light up the hoverboard or whatever. And this particular or whatever is very important to me too. So that's why I made it in the first place, because that's kind of what it's all about.
No, yeah, that's awesome, man. And this is cool too. Look at this.
Yeah, that's Lurk owns that one. He bought it back in the day for 100 TES, which was like a record in any of our circles. And I just spent that 100 TES right back on other people's art too. So and this is like pre I don't know. This is pre Pop Wonderworld. So this is like, you can kind of see I drew this in 2019. And you can see like the little bit of the style, but the different coloring, whatever, real vector look, but with highlights and shadows and doodles and stuff like that. So
yeah, and you kind of get a sense for, like, the character with the elongated nose, and you still have these dark characters in the back lurking in the shadows. Like there's a lot of similarities, and if you just throw halftone over this,
I could, see what it looks like.
That's always so fun, is when we look back on our stuff and we see that our brain continues to do the same kind of things, even though we don't consciously think about it. I've noticed, I've gone back to like some of the stuff I made like in college, and I'm like, oh, there's a cloud with a face on it. Like
right.
Like weird stuff like that you just kind of like instinctively keep going back to.
How much is this listed for? I haven't looked in a long time.
Holy moly!
$690.
That's some for the culture stuff right there.
It's awesome. I like that it's also
one of one
rougher.
There's like 10 or 20 or something.
Nice.
Maybe 10.
8 owners on this.
8. Oh, 8 owners.
It's a new thing where you can just go into
it might be 10 or 8 or something, but
very cool.
It's always interesting. I think I collected some of your TES works, but I think even before that, the first piece I got of yours was a POAP for fractional.
Mm-hmm. That was right. That was right at the frothy time of the market, and it was like it hit at the right time. Like people were trading that POAP, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, that was cool. Deez always has always hyped me up. He was there very early on, and always, you know, had me on his podcast and all that stuff. So when this is before all that, but when he hit me up, I was like, yeah, I'll do whatever.
Yeah. No, shout out Deez.
Yeah.
I love his podcast too. It's one of the longest podcasts I've ever done. I think it was like 3 hours long. He's got stamina.
Yep.
No, these are sick. I think, yeah, it's so fun that have you gone back to the CMY stuff recently, or have you kind of put that
It's been a minute, but I have like a couple of unfinished ones that I did, but I really should. There's no reason to not just drop something, because, you know,
maybe it's your Solana.
I was wondering, now that we got, you know, Solana's kind of popping off, and
I got the wallet, man, and I collected one piece, and I haven't bought any shit coins yet, but
everyone I bought has gone down. So, you know, I was
cool.
that sucker that bought the top. So
yeah, I mean, if
I was
once
like,
you hear about
it, and then
once you hear about it, it's too late. You got to be so dialed in to find that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's cool to see different artists looking at these different chains and figuring out how to use them. I think, you know, Object and Hen really had an interesting culture to it, where it's like Brooklyn flea market kind of, or like a zine convention almost.
Yeah, and we
I
really
don't
were
know what
just
the other cultures are going to be yet.
We really were just passing around the $5 bill to each other back then.
I collected a lot, but I never ended up minting on Tezos.
Yeah.
I didn't understand how to fit myself in, which is why I really appreciate how you kind of created a different persona almost for your work on there.
Yeah, seemed very important to me to do that, because, you know, it would have been kind of disrespectful to the collector. And
Sure.
You know, no offense to anybody who did just put the same kind of work on there, but like for me, I just knew that it wouldn't have ended right. You know, it would have
definitely mixed it up.
Yeah,
it would have made things a little bit weird. I agree with that idea, that if you're gonna do something that's, you know, a little more experimental on a place that's, you know, significantly, you know, more affordable, you know, there's nothing wrong with going there, and, you know, do whatever you want to do. But, you know, it makes a lot of sense that you say, like, okay, especially if you're going maybe from one of ones even just to editions, and you keep the same style, you're saying, okay, you know, these are editions. It's a different beast, and this is why, you know, you're over on this chain or wherever you're minting.
Yeah, I think I might have done these before I did any editions on ETH, or at least right at the same time. It was April 2021 that I did both. Yeah,
I wish I figured out Tezos just sooner in general. I had my first, you know, collaborated Tezos mint like a week ago.
Hey.
Really?
Yeah. It's still up. There's a few more left.
I didn't even see that.
Dude, yeah.
That's the problem with the holidays, is everything.
Yeah.
Hard to keep track of everything.
There's a collaboration with Custom Horror. He put out a tweet, and he was like, "Hey, anybody who wants to do it."
Highlighted on our show. I think the last show, right?
We did, yeah. And I was like, you know what? I love your work. I made something like that night. I was like, here you go. And he just like did his thing to you know, to the piece and put it up. So
okay, I did see the collaboration, but I didn't realize it was on Tezos.
Yeah. Yep.
Sweet.
Speaking of other artists and other work, how about we move on and start talking about some show and tell stuff? What do you guys think?
Yeah, this is my favorite part when I watch your show.
All right, so the beauty of this, here we go. Let's do a little show and tell.
Music by Billy Preston.
I worked hard on that Apple loop, okay? At least 3 minutes. So, this is show and tell time, and this is the part of the show where each of us has brought 3 pieces that we either collected or just really like in general. Tend to be from artists that are, you know, maybe not getting as much exposure. Sometimes they are, but we just want to highlight people who we think are really dope. So nobody else on the show besides me knows what everyone else brought to the table, so it makes it even more fun. People get to see these in real time, and we get to talk about them. So let's kick this off and see if this works. We're going to start with a piece chosen by Pop Wonder, and we're going to go with Wow.
This is where I make my browser bigger so I can see everything.
Here it goes. We're gonna kick this one off right here in the gutter.
Ooh.
All right. This is
yeah.
Inside Gutter Cat 2546 by Bryan Morris.
That's right.
And I'll also share, I might as well, and I'm going to make it bigger in just a second here once I figure that out. Before we do the special bigger version of that. This was I believe you said you're going to talk about a commission that you maybe did with this Gutter Cat here. So let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I love Bryan's work.
I got a lot of Gutter Cats. That's my my Grail one. And when Bryan was doing some apes and things like that, and I said, okay, I want to get a version. I love his work. We're friends. We chat all the time. I said, I want to see what you do with this, with the tattoos. And look at that. Like his work, could be mistaken if you just take a quick glance at it as 3D, but this is all just illustrated.
Yep.
And you can tell when you zoom in, but he did all the insides and the scratch tattoos on the glass on the outside, and he did his own versions and stuff, put lowbrow in there.
It is so good. All of his work, like I think I'm having a good day drawing and illustrating, and I'm like, yes, I'm feeling it. Yeah, I like this. And I go see his and I'm like, cool, I gotta just work harder. Harder.
I mean, he will encourage you to do that and all that, but he has his thing and you got yours, and it's all good. No
doubt. But it's one of those things that just makes you want to just work harder.
Oh yeah, you're like
so inspiring. So inspiring.
And he just really understands light and reflection and refraction and all of that. It's so cool.
Yeah,
the layers. I love watching him.
He's posted some breakdowns of his process too, which makes it even more impressive because it's brute force. There's no tricks.
No, the guy works hard, man, and he's one of the few people that gets up earlier than me.
Yeah, no, he seen him start with like the outline of the shape, and you're like, okay, and then all of a sudden it's just, I don't even know how many layers he's working with, right? Like to actually layer the stuff like glass. We got to get Bryan on here one day.
Oh yeah, do it.
And he's another fellow Ghost Club member.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and he's a super insightful guy too. He would be great on here.
I love this piece. I don't know if I've actually seen this thing, but I've seen a lot of his.
I saw that he did a lot of the apes.
I didn't. Glad you zoomed in. I wouldn't have noticed the scratching on glass.
I know
as well.
Like the fact that there's just like hearts right up here, like in the blown out highlight, like the fact, and it's probably related to this, right? Like, there's hearts right there. It's the same stuff, but in And he's even this is the beauty of this. Look at this, like the details. So you've got right there for anyone who can see it. There's this tiny faint shadow. There's a shadow from the scratched etched glass onto the layer below it.
That's so cool.
and none of them are plug and play. Like he drew this.
Oh
it's not an effect.
And look at that. Look at this thing. There's just like these little veins. So impressive. You can tell just how much he cares about making this work. And that's why this thing just looks, the way it does. And he's really done a stellar job kind of, honing his craft and also making carving out a space for himself for this type of work. Because you see this, you immediately know who it is.
Yep.
So good. Thank you so much for bringing that. All right. Let's move on to somebody that Bryan brought. Who we got today?
You got like folders of your tabs? I didn't know you could even do that.
Dude, it's the only way that I can make this this show work. Google Chrome. All right, here we go. Boom.
Ooh.
This is
pop it out. Make it fit the window. Oh, it doesn't. Oh, you got to go to the actual.
That's okay.
It doesn't. Go to the actual.
Can you get out to the?
If you click on the three dots in the top corner.
Three dots.
Top right corner.
Top right corner. The three seashells. Got it.
Visit website.
Yes.
This is for all the Art Blocks fans out there. If you go here, then you scroll down, and it's that box next to the 3D cube on the right.
This box here.
So that one,
We're gonna go to a live.
That loads the live generative art page.
Whoa.
So this is a piece by Stevie P, Dopamine Machines. Each of these are interactive, and if you click them, they make very obnoxious noises.
They do. I've learned that, but
Um,
it's fun. I don't think they can hear it. I haven't figured out how to hear. Can you guys hear this?
No, it's for the best.
Now it's all I hear, though. So
I love this project, but it would annoy a lot of people if they had to hear all the noises, because everything you click, there's like a voice that says like fast, fear, sin, all this stuff. But what I love about this project and all the other ones, and I own quite a few, he tried to make the most overwhelming dopamine machine possible. And so it's just, each one is insane and made to be put on giant screens and overwhelm spaces. And it's like a Times Square building as a generative art piece. And, Stevie is a troublemaker and he loves to make weird, wild things. And I think, this was one of my favorite Art Blocks curated drops of last year. And one of the fun things that came about it is that if you bought it, you could get a physical, which he printed on his mother's inkjet printer, where it still has like the URL at the top, and then he signed it, and then he folded it up and sent it in a normal mail envelope. So it is the worst print possible.
That's amazing.
I love that.
That's so perfect.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can go to the OpenSea and see some of the other variants of it, but to me it's like there was that Themes and Variations by Vera Molnar this year.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the Web3ification of what that one was, like the trad art version. This is like the insane version of that.
Good Lord, look
They're
at this
amazing.
stuff. That's so good. So much anxiety.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look at that one. They're all broken into little.
This guy?
There, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I know. Oh, and I love this too, that you can, like, it's interactive just in here, right? I don't know what that is that does that, because I'm not on the website of understanding things. But it's very cool. I'm afraid to click it though.
It'll overwhelm your speakers.
Oh God. Oh, nope. Shouldn't have done that. Okay. These are great, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
I will say also, for anyone listening, when we're done, we send out a tweet thread with all the things that we talked about today, Pop Wonders art, and all of the artists that we feature. Okay. All right. Moving on. Let's take a look. Let's see what I got. Okay. We're going to change the vibe up quite a bit here.
Ooh.
Wow.
This is from WG Meets. This is from his AI Flesh series, Authentication 87. It was a random mint that I got on Foundation. I didn't know which one, but I knew I was going to get the series. And honestly, when I saw this, when I saw the series, I wanted one immediately. So I don't think so. He's not using Midjourney. He's what's the one that gives you more control? Help me here.
Stable Diffusion?
Stable.
Ali? Oh,
Stable, yeah, and he's done all sorts of things, and he's done to put this collection together. But the idea of dealing with all sorts of things related to bodies and how people are seen and as important, but then discarded, and pieces, and there's a lot going on, and it was just gorgeous work, and the details were there, and I don't know, when I saw this, I just wanted, like, I envisioned that I hope someday he can have these pieces displayed humongous, inside of giant, tall galleries or walls or sides of buildings. Like, I don't know. This is a beautiful social commentary, and it speaks to beauty and aging and just all sorts of really interesting things. But the collection is gorgeous, and I also love that it's all in black and white.
I really dig it. It reminds, I'm pulling this out from a while ago, but it reminds me of Chris Cunningham's Rubber Johnny video. Just like a weird deformity weirdness video. I think
Sure.
that was black and white as well, but it like takes me back to like the grotesqueness of that.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just gorgeous stuff though. And then
Wow.
all of this textures, and I mean it's work that it's not easy to look at. But
Yeah, AI doesn't always make me feel something, and these definitely do. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean when I see AI that has like, too many fingers, like that's my favorite kind of AI.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
think
when someone's like,
this really plays on the joke of AI hands and fingers
Mhm.
in a
Definitely.
nice way.
Yeah. See if this one comes up. Ooh. But
It's
also
like those cave stalactites or whatever.
people, in general, like with AI, right? There's so much polish in AI and so much, fake beauty and what is beauty. And then everything looks just way too pretty and, um, and done up. And then, to
Yeah.
see something like this, just really, it's striking. And I think it's gorgeous work.
Yeah, and to go so far in the other direction is almost the art of it all anyway. Like, it's like, yeah, like you said, like a play on the hands not working in AI. It's like, okay, well, we're gonna really make them not work.
Like there's no way this doesn't wind up just on display at a large museum. It's gorgeous work.
It's nice.
Yeah.
So I really, I'm hoping that more people can take a look at the series and just sit with it.
I feel like that's a
There's-
horror manga character right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It absolutely. It is. All right.
Brad, good choice.
Thank you.
Hadn't seen this.
Let's keep it going. We'll go back to Pop Wonders choices, and we'll get. See, then let's go here.
Ooh.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't know we'd be talking so much about Tezos, and I just wanted to include a piece on here to show that I also collect over here. But yeah, this is a one of one by Frenemy, illustrator that lives in Indonesia, American guy that lives in Indonesia, and yeah, I mean, I have a lot of stuff on Tezos, but not a lot of 1/1s because they're a little more rare. But I scooped this one up maybe last year or something. And I just love his work. He's working constantly. He's a tattoo artist. He's been working in the sandbox, which I love to see that still happening. But he's been working with somebody to make all of his characters in there. And just we seem to be. I've never met him, but we're friendly online. We both have about the same age. Have a background in illustration, music, skateboarding, punk, culture kind of stuff. So I've always resonated with his work a lot. I love this kind of stuff.
Dig it. And his use of colors is limited for screen printing as well. It seems like it's only like maybe 5 colors there.
Yeah. And it's good. It's a good combo. It's a great palette.
Really nice.
Just looking at.
I'm gonna go see his 3D metaverse characters now.
Oh, they're looking dope.
That's awesome.
I like
that
big
is-
pizza.
I was just looking at that. I was like, "What is that?" That's a pizza from the back. You almost never see a pizza illustrated from the back.
Totally, yeah.
That is a crust. That is a crust first pizza.
And before moving on, I also wanted to give an honorable mention to Waiting for Thunder by The Mess, which I collected, but you guys talked about on your first episode, and I actually forgot about that, put it on the list, and then Adam was like, we didn't talk about it. I was like, but it's mine. But so I just want to give a shout out. I did try to include that one, but yeah, I mean,
I apologize that I
Great
didn't.
one.
I didn't grab it, but
it's fine. I just wanted to do a shout out.
But I will say this: The Mess has now had 3 different artists come to the show and say, "Can I just show this one from The Mess?" And I was like, "All right, I don't know, The Mess,
Hey,
your art,
real, yeah, that's an artist right there.
it's
yeah,
amazing. It's
amazing
amazing
stuff.
So
Keeps coming too.
yeah,
Yeah,
Okay, that's it for that.
all right. This was great. Thank you. Let's see. Let's go to Brian. Brian, what do we got here? Boom. There we go.
all right. We got the Nereids. This is by Hashi Peach. She goes by Sarah as well. Um, just an incredible illustrator. I've been a fan of hers for a while now, and again, someone that does a ton of work on iPad, shows the process. She just adds such amazing line work to her work. This is one of her earlier collections, but her work is very tough to get. Everyone that collects it has very heavy diamond hands, but she kind of does, I would say, like pinup art, but very comic influenced. But she just does an amazing job with like texturing and coloring and shading. I'm just a big fan. This one doesn't even probably show the amount of detail she usually puts in some of her other pieces. I don't know if you want to go back and look at some of the other ones.
Yeah, yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
it's really cool. I like. Not a lot of people do gradients well.
yeah.
I'll say, this is working really nicely. Wow, this is pretty cool.
But this was she did this collection of these kind of like sea mermaids.
Mhm.
And I believe she's making custom pieces of just the tridents now for all the holders. And then she also just recently did a Deadfellas collaboration with Betty. And
Nice.
she was also one of the Grumple one of one artists with us, Adam.
Oh, was she?
Yep.
Oh,
And
very cool. I knew I'd
so she
recognize the name. I didn't know. Very cool.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Oops, that's a thing that I did that did something, and now I've got dial-up internet apparently.
Yeah.
Hey, 1994, let's go.
I was just trying to show. Oh, look at that! Yeah, it's
Yeah.
that's what I was seeing. It looks like a color offset, right?
Yeah.
It gives it that.
But again,
sort
another
of-
person just like Pop who's really good at the Procreate iPad world, which I struggle to do this kind of detail with. I have to go into Photoshop. I'm old school,
I
but I'm
love
always
Procreate.
amazed at seeing what
Yeah.
people can do with Procreate.
This goes to show people go and zoom into the art that you collect or that you admire. You don't have to collect it. Just go zoom in when an artist posts something because there's another story to tell.
Oh yeah, there's 100%, right? Like look at the detail on just like on this tattoo, right? It's spot on too. I love that. I love a piece that you can just kind of get lost in. Details, man. Details are awesome when an artist, has that intention and then really just goes all wild with it. Like even these eyebrows. Like if I can find them.
Oh yeah.
Wow, those are dope.
Very cool. All right. Well, let's switch it up. We got a couple more to go here. Okay. All right. Let's go with this one right here. So this is Helmet City, Bodega Drip 18. This is by Ja, art by Ja. He is an incredibly talented dude who this is an AI collection that he put together that kind of reimagines life in an alternate universe, kind of in like the early 2000s, where there and I forget exactly what the story was, but the gist is there's sort of an alien presence on Earth, and and pretty much everybody's wearing these really dope helmets, but it's all AI. And it's the versions of AI that I love that have like not correct languages, and it really works, like leaning into that kind of
Yeah.
world that he's building. And I don't know, there's something about it that just feels really, really smart, and it wasn't something I had seen done before, and I was really excited to jump into that collection. And he's been telling stories and like really trying to build out a world, which was really awesome. So his most recent thing is the Mecha Gardens, which was also really cool because he started teaching himself how to do AI with movement, and you guys probably can't hear this, but he's written a whole story. Um, yeah, it's just really gorgeous work. And so that series, Helmet City, I can get let me see. Yep.
I like that a lot. Yeah, it's like Daft Punk mixed with New York.
Mm-hmm. It's just they're beautiful.
I love retro futurism in this. This definitely hits that vibe.
And they all have like, a very consistent world feel, So speaking to curation and his vision for this.
Yeah. That's awesome. I didn't realize he did this. I have some of his like photography work from a while back.
Yeah, and he did some 3D work before that. No, he's definitely an artist who likes to push himself and really explore these different concepts and worlds. And I don't know. I think I'd seen some interviews that he had done before where he's talking about his use of AI and leaning into it like it's just another storytelling tool.
Yeah.
And it really his work speaks to that. And he even did.
Cool.
Yeah, it ties into his world. Oh, go ahead.
No,
Bob.
go ahead.
I was just saying, so cool, so rad. I mean, that car looks amazing.
Well, the photo I have of his is from like a rap music video shoot, and so I can see the influence in this with kind of that kind of culture vibe to it. These feel like they could be like Beastie Boy videos or something.
Yeah. I think it's the kind of work that begs to have movement in it, and I think that's clear that he wound up driving forward and exploring that even further.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
I like that big blank building. It reminds me of Queens. There's like weird storefronts like that where there's just a big blank wall above the first floor.
That's really cool. Yeah, highly
Awesome.
encourage people to go check out his work. All right, so then last one for each of us. Then let's see. Let's go back to Pop. You've got this piece here, another Ghost Club alum, right?
Yep, Arya Mularama.
Very cool. This is called "Too Much Is Never Enough." Does that work? Do you guys see that in full screen?
Looks good.
Yeah.
So I've been collecting Arya's stuff for a long time, both on ETH and Tezos. And then this was part of a Ghost Club and Infinite Objects collab that a bunch of us did. I did one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and so I was bidding on a couple, and this is the one I ended up getting, and it's on its way to me now. So I will have the physical, Infinite Objects coming, and I just wanted to include it because I think it might be my last thing I've collected, and I love it, and I can't wait for it to be on these shelves or something.
Frame by frame animation of it's great.
Yeah. I mean, that dude he knocks out. I mean, he's like one of these prolific guys that just keeps going and going. It's great. Yeah.
No, this is really cool. I love the
animation. Almost overwhelms the awesome background art.
Right.
It takes a second to notice all the awesome stuff going on behind it.
Yeah, and that collection that it's in is really grown into something. Yeah, I mean, if you can just because we got these the name tags.
There's Brian Morris again.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah, the name tags are something, then these animations for the Infinite Objects, and there's all sorts of stuff in here. And I mean, if anybody's just looking for illustrators and artists to follow, like Ghost Club has just so many.
100%.
We fully support Ghost Club.
I also thought about adding, that some Mumbot stuff to my show and tell, but she was already on
we
here,
love
right?
the Mumbot.
Yeah.
We love the Mumbot.
So shout out to Mumbot as well. I own a few of these in here.
There's a tease for who's coming up in the future. We just scrolled by one.
Oh,
on our show, you mean?
On our show, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I didn't know which one was that person's, but okay.
A little bit. Oh, there it is.
Oh, right there. Yeah.
Oh, look at the calendar. Yep. Got a big whiteboard now with like a bunch of dates and artists, and I'm like, yep. All right. We're booked out until like the middle of February, which is pretty
Holy
dope.
moly.
Yeah, so we got to do this, man. People like,
I really loved Ika Almez's Infinite Objects drop for it too.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
she's great.
That one turned out awesome.
And
I
then
haven't seen it on the scroll. Oh, there it was.
go. Yeah.
It wasn't that one. That one with the hand. Spread love.
Yep.
That
And
was a
before
great-
we move on,
great animation.
scroll up a little bit more. Keep going. That one on the left there, the animation. This.
Oh yeah, that one's cool.
So
Gillen or Guylan.
we had I did. Is this the person that not with this piece of artwork, but Mumbot on our show? Didn't she?
Yes, she might have.
Yeah.
It might have been
Had
this
their work on it?
actually. I don't know, but I mean,
It was the
I would-
Beeple one that the like,
Oh
fighting
right,
Beeple.
that's
but it's-
right.
Oh yeah.
But it felt like this. There's really cool stuff.
Yeah, and I was bidding on this, and I took a step back because the other guy didn't seem like he was. I was like, I could have made you pay a lot more. He's like, yep.
No, that's really cool.
Yeah, we scrolled
Very
by
cool.
some wooden cyclops. I think I saw some in your background too.
Yeah, I got a couple of
yeah.
Wind Cyclops. Yeah, it's a buddy of
Highlighted
mine.
him. He was one of my picks.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I mean, he's awesome. He lives here in town too, and we hang out and our kids play together and going to his kid's birthday party soon and all that stuff.
Awesome.
So, yeah, he's a
Good
homie.
stuff. I've been trying to get his tank dogs that he's been putting on Super Rare.
Oh yeah,
They sell out instantaneously. It's impossible.
yeah. I mean, he's just like
You just did a collab with him like a week ago, right?
Yeah, right. There's his series called Skinned Alive, and we did just like a mini drop with Lurk, Brian Morris,
Oh, that's
Wooden
right.
Cyclops, and myself doing the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and yeah, that was cool.
That's really cool.
And there's my Infinite Objects there on the bottom right there. But
Yep.
yeah, but so
Had some sweet animation to it.
it was
Yeah.
it was cool to do this format because I don't think I've ever done this vertical 16 by 9 like that. So yeah,
That's
Shout out.
really great.
shout out to Net Return for collecting this one and
Nice.
so much of my other work. Probably the most has the most of my pieces out of anybody. He's even been scooping up people who needed to dump him over the last year. He's been waiting and scooping them up. So
Yeah.
shout out to him.
That's
He's
fun.
great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Killer.
Anywho,
All right.
Love it. That was
Enough about me.
The brain wiggles great.
No,
Oh, yeah.
never enough about you. Enough about our guest today.
It's the subtle animation that
It is. I just like the lines. The
transition's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as
That
a
was all
musician,
just learning experience.
is there any music to this or sound effect?
No, there isn't because it wouldn't have.
Oh, it's
played
gonna go
the-
on Infinite Objects.
Yeah. I only did one piece with music in it ever, but
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting considering your background, right?
yeah, I mean, I'm more of a hired gun, studio guy, learn all your tunes, haul all my gear, play the show kind of guy. Not as much of a producer, even though I have messed around with it. But yeah, I mean, it's not really my thing. I'm more of like a learn your songs kind of guy.
All right. Very cool, man. All right, Brian, let's go to your final
Right.
piece of the day. Brings us to the Ghost Shrimp
Oh,
The
cool.
shrimp.
with
I
some
gotta
high
put these, too.
strangeness.
Yeah,
High
so Ghost Shrimp's an
strangeness.
awesome dude. I got to I met him many, many years ago when he was working on Adventure Time. He's kind of the man responsible for creating the world of Adventure Time. So like he's the one that designed the treehouse and the backgrounds and that whole universe. He also worked on Midnight Gospel and all sorts of awesome stuff. So anything that has really cool, trippy worlds is usually his hand. But he's been in the NFT space, and honestly, I think he's kind of flown under the radar for being such an important figure in like the illustration world. So this was like something I collected early on his Maker's Place, but he also has a bunch of one-on-ones on the Foundation. And then this summer, I got to go to his he's built like a summer camp essentially up in Vermont, where he gets a bunch of artists to come and build cabins, and he teaches them how to draw. And this summer, I got to go up there and kind of camp out and meet him, hang out with him and his family and all these other artists, and he just builds really great vibes. And I think he's just an awesome dude that's kind of doing his own thing. He was like, I don't want to live in LA. I just want to go buy a cabin or build a cabin in Vermont and just make art in the woods. And that's what he does.
That's dope.
More power to him, man. It's really dope.
Yeah.
And you said this is from the Maker's Place stuff?
Yeah, so I think if you scroll down to traits, maybe you can see his other. Yeah, click on the Ghost Shrimp creator icon there.
Because I got a
see
couple
some-
of these. I got one. I
Yeah,
got
so
that
there's
one.
Midnight Gospel. There's some
got that
Math
one.
Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah, his stuff's so rad.
It's really cool.
I got to see some of his like pencil drawings from Adventure Time, and he kind of talked about how he like each background has like its own visual storytelling of lore built into what he draws. So it's like, you know, as opposed to just building a path for the animation, he's like adding more and more lore to the story with each illustration. So
That's
you know,
really cool.
these are kind of simplified compared to like some of his background arts that are crazy. But yeah, all of his background he drew with like ink on paper, and then they were scanned in for Adventure Time and stuff. So it's really wild stuff.
This is really cool, especially, you know, knowing the show and then seeing Pineapple. That's really cool. Whoa.
But if you're ever looking to do illustration, he also teaches he does like online classes where he'll teach you how to draw his stuff. You know, like learn from him. So I like that he shares a lot of his knowledge with the world.
Process. That's really cool. Awesome, man. Thank you. All right. I've got one more left, and it is an artist that I don't know. I recently just found their work because now that I was, you know, into Tezos and Object, I've just been looking around and seeing what's out there. And I found this piece, which I thought was just really cool. Seascape Data 2. The audio that you can't hear is white noise. Like it fades up and it fades out, but it's white noise to make the sound for the ocean. And I love, it's a really cool, long, smeary, digital, you know, waterscape. It's just gorgeous to me. I think it's one of those things where when I think about more crypto art, right? Like art that's sort of, you know, embraces the digital being the medium. You know, I'm not entirely sure how it's made, but I've looked through this person's stuff and let me see. I apologize. I'm trying to remember. Helio Santos. Yeah, just again, recently just found. And there's something really calming to this piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a soothing glitch art.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like data mosh and pixel sorting and all sorts of stuff, but it's not like looking at it, you can tell it's not like they just threw an effect over the whole thing because there's different layers to the motion. It's like they ran something through a few different things and then composited them together. It's really clever.
Yeah,
Dig it.
And I think they're building their own systems too.
Yeah. Oh, awesome.
So, and then when I went just in general looking for more of their work, just a little taste of this series right here. He says is created with an AI and generated, but then printed, then painted with a robot.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Synthetic
oil
landscape.
canvas on paper. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like that kind of stuff. I know Pindar showed me his painting robot, and I find it all. I've seen a few artists do some really cool, like plotter painting stuff, and it's
basically
really awesome. Those look great though. So they're generating the landscapes in AI and then having the robot paint it.
For those, yeah.
Cool.
And then I guess if you collect it, it comes with the painting, the physical.
Awesome.
Yeah. No, and you know, I don't know. I guess when I'm thinking about all of this stuff, you know, NFTs and crypto art, like when, you know, I first learned about any of this stuff, a lot of the resources was on crypto art, you know, and it was as its own category and not just art that became NFTs. That's digital art, you know. And so this kind of like reminded me of some of the really cool stuff that I saw early on, which was very, you know, digitally native and not like trying to pretend that it's not. and really leaning into the medium. So yeah, big.
Cool. Yeah. A few artists I hadn't seen before. I always love this.
Yeah. So that is show and tell, and I don't have an exit graphic for it, but
But we're back.
But we're back.
Oh, that was awesome. Great picks, everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, good stuff, guys.
Pop Wonder's got the whole wall behind him of other shout outs.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I guess I gotta do this. Nope, this way. Yeah, we got Brian Romero, Wooden Cyclops, Sam Pearson, Matthew Crumpton, Mumbot, more Wooden Cyclops, Joe Bradley. This painting right here is you can only see half of it, but it's amazing. It's Command Z, Johnny Rodriguez, probably the crown jewel of my whole collection. And then I got lots of toys and stuffies.
Killer acid Polaroid camera. Sick.
Yep.
That's a hell of a collection there. That's really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it took a while to put it up, but all throughout the past few years, when people would drop something, I would go grab one because they're all pretty much friends of mine, and I love their art, and I like collecting digital art. I was like, I better collect some physical art too, and so it's just art and bases all around me now. So I actually just got the Brian Morris inside Mona, his Mona Lisa.
The Mona Lisa one, yeah.
Yeah, it's off of the framers right now, but that's going to be going up soon. Can't wait.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're starting to wrap up. But
yeah,
what do you want to promote, Pop?
Oh man, I didn't even think about that. I mean, I just
had the drop last week.
Yeah,
is that still available, or is that done?
That's done. Collected by Net Return once again.
Nice.
He's he's a real dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then I just did like Bitcoin ordinals last month and stuff like that. So I don't have any. I am like working on new projects and a couple of gigs, commissions that I'm doing and like collaborations and stuff. But for right now, just like hang out on Twitter, check out. The links in my bio have like my collections that you can go and check out the secondary market for stuff, and otherwise, yeah, just like let's hang out on Twitter and you'll see what I got going on.
Awesome, can't wait. Was that Ordinal the one that was like that group drop of artists?
It's called Counterfeit Cards, and it's yeah.
I feel like I've heard that one.
Sounds like some alpha right here.
Yeah, they've been killing it, and they have releases all the time. I was They did series 0 or season 0 or something, and then I was number 1 of season 2, whatever it's called. So
very cool.
And that was great because they're an awesome team, super nice guys, and they let me just like create the art and help me. They did all the inscriptions and helped me promote it and all that. So it was a great way to get in on ordinals and just kind of dip my toes in that crazy world.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Brian, you got anything
to promote?
I don't know.
Nah, I'll talk about it. Nothing in the next week. Well,
exactly.
Well, I did a trade-in thing. So if anybody wants to trade me back my art for a meme lab card, hit me up on the DMs.
I thought it was a pretty cool, mechanic. Definitely. Yeah. I think more people will probably do it at some point because like that's like a fun way to connect. It's gonna
be little by little. It'll be a fun experiment to see who's willing to give up something for something.
Well, I'm not. I have a few of your pieces, and there's.
I found it hard last night to give up one of your pieces. I was so close, and then I went.
You're
and
not
looked
losing
at it.
something. You're just exchanging.
Yeah, but I gotta get attached to these things. Yeah. Well, I'll say this and see if I can pull this off. If anybody has digital art that they've collected from any of the artists you've seen today or your own, we are now partners with Tokenframe. So if we have an affiliate link, if you go to tokenframe.com, you put in coupon code ART1ST, artist, art first, that right there. Then you
no T in the middle, AR first.
AR, no, I just don't know how to spell. It's probably artist, and I just can't spell.
Probably it's ART first, right?
ART first. You know what though? Okay. This is a live show, and when we make mistakes, we own them. That's correct, Brian.
If the code doesn't work like that, try adding a T.
Yeah. AR, did you? What are you talking about? Try adding a T. It's right there. Right? No,
There.
it's not there. I can't. You go and you try to be slick like that, and then it just like blows up in your face, and you don't hit the save button, and then all of a sudden, what artist? That's there. It was there the whole time, guys. Come on. Yes, but thank you so much for anybody who came and checked this out or is checking the replay. Thank you so much to Pop Wonder for showing up and showing some awesome art. And yeah, we really appreciate everybody, coming and checking out the show. Thank you so
my
much.
pleasure. Thanks.
All right. We don't have too much of a goodbye, but I'm going to hit the music, and we will see you guys next time. Next episode is going to be on January 12th, and I guess I might as well say who it is. The artist is artist Jisoo. Very excited to meet her and talk to her about her work. But until then, have a good one, everybody.
Yeah. Now we're just going to stare at the screen for a minute until it's
Here we go. Let's stare at the screen.